So I'm Wakumi. I am the one of the co-founders and executive director of Soul Sisters Leadership Collective and a cohort 4 MEV fellow. MEV family is near and dear to my heart, and I come into this work as a person who's directly impacted by mass incarceration, having done 30 plus years on the outside with my father, someone who's directly impacted by violence, and is a survivor of violence, and also as a culturally rooted Naima. Can you be a little bit quieter, babe? Thank you. Also, as a culturally rooted healer, an organizer, and an activist in Black left spaces. And our family consists of myself, a little 4-year-old daughter who is my birth daughter, and my mother, who is, again, my birth mother. So there's 3 sort of bloodline generations of us in my mother's home right now in New Jersey, which is where we are sheltering in place during the pandemic.
First off, thank you for saying yes. Thank you for leaning into this project, this process, this invitation to really talk about what does it mean to be a caregiver and parent in this pandemic, and the ways that you are integrating all of your social justice knowledge and experiences and integrating that in how you're educating your daughter while she's home. So we've heard a lot about homeschooling in particular ways, and worksheets galore, and packets are going through the mail, and it's a lot of like routine, kind of rigid ways of like learning. And I've really been able to witness like your expansive way of teaching your baby by all the shares that you do on social media. So I just appreciate it.
Learning how to educate my daughter in a way that's rooted in social justice and Black and African descendant culture has felt like I feel really proud of it, you know? I feel really proud of one, like the ways that we're being led and inspired in like our co-creations of lessons and themes for our weeks. And also I feel like also excited about having an opportunity for a creative outlet for myself.
That's so good to hear that it's like your outlet and it's giving you joy and like an opportunity to like explore creativity in this moment, in this pandemic where there's lots of crisis. I'm curious about, how do you practice liberation and cultivate the liberation that you seek in the world? How do you practice that in your relationship with your mom, with your daughter, and also in the way that you're holding space for her education right now?
First 2 words that come up are choice and compassion. Are the 2 things that are coming up as you're asking that question. We're engaging a lot of choice. So Naima is doing some sort of more structured learning for like, you know, an hour and a half, okay, with breaks worked in there around like numbers and writing and letters and with the theme of the week. And she's also engaging a lot of choice, like on sort of super micro levels and macro levels in the learning and throughout her time in the household. And then I think just generally having just lots of compassion for myself and for my mom and Naima in the midst of this big transition. I mean, it really took us, I would say, 4 weeks to figure out how to do this. Last week was our first week figuring out how to do this in a way that my mom and I had a really clear system for what, like who is on when, and also creating room for ourselves, not just to be on calls for work, but actually like just to sit alone quietly and do work without having to juggle the homeschooling. We just figured that out. It took us 4 weeks to figure out how to do that in a way that made sense for our bodies and our spirits. And so before that, there were just a lot of fumbles and mess ups. There were times when, you know, we didn't remember to do a particular thing. There were times when Naima went to bed late, or she woke up late, or, you know, all kinds of, or she was doing more screen time than we would have liked, or like ended up watching things that she typically wouldn't be like. We typically monitor her more what she's watching, and then we found out that she watched some like weird SpongeBob episode that involved like death and burials and all this kind of weird stuff that I wouldn't typically have wanted her to be exposed to as at 4 years old. But it happened. She got exposed. So then what do? Okay, we have compassion for ourselves. We talk with her about like, I think the other thing that's coming for me is like critical thinking, critical conversations, like talking with her about what was it that she just watched, why that's not something that she should be watching. Yes, Wild Kratts is on the table. Like, I think that because people are trying to continue on as if we're not home with our children, people are it's a strange, like, people are kind of trying to go on as if that's not happening, but no, like, we're home with our children. And so like confronting people with this new normal and challenging what the status quo was.
I love it. I love Naima's choice. I saw that on the schedule. When you posted the schedule online for week 1, there were like sections that were like Naima's choice. And just seeing that was so powerful. Because the other schedules that I had seen come out were like booked from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Like these kids had like full-on schedules to try to match the parents like working schedules.
When I say that Naima and I are in co-creation, like we're in co-creation. So for week 1, I was like, okay, Naima, what do we want to learn about next week? Because we're going to do homeschool. And I was introducing the idea to her. I was like, we're going to do homeschool. What do you want to learn about? I said, it's March. It's Women's History Month. Maybe we can do like a girl power theme. And she was like, it has to be Black girl power. I was like, yes. Okay.
Yes, Naima, boo.
Intersectionality. Okay. Because we're Black. That's right. Or even like we're doing Black Girl Power again, a second go round, because we did it the first week and then we did some other things and now we're coming back to it. And we're learning about more Black women
who did stuff for other humans.
That's right. And I was like, okay, do you want to do another unit, a Black Girl Power? She's like, yes. She's like, I want to do Harriet Tubman again. So the first day on Monday, we did Harriet Tubman. So, like she's really, so I think this thing about the children are, they're so essential because they are they're the generational transmitters of this knowledge, things get passed down through books, but things also get passed down generation to generation.
What does it mean to be a Black girl growing up knowing like I have choice, I have agency, I have rights, I have power?
I anticipate she'll feel maybe not always unafraid, but nonetheless will take that action because she feels that that's what's right in her spirit. So I think she'll feel confident in her choices even if she feels nervous or afraid. And I think Naima will also know that we've got her back, like she's supported. Unfortunately, sometimes being a Black girl and speaking your mind, even if you're right, because a lot of the Black girls who we're seeing facing suspension and expulsion and being arrested in schools are actually have really strong senses of justice and right and wrong. And some of them are little activists in their schools, right? Saying, I actually don't know. I don't agree with that. But are met with, one second, baby, are met with like resistance and are met with punitive measures. There's risks associated with raising liberated children. I mean, that's why so many of our parents raised us, beat us, and raised us to be afraid because they wanted to protect us from racialized violence that they knew we have a high likelihood of experiencing. So in terms of the curriculum, we co-create this curriculum together. So it's important, even in the design of what is being done, to give the children choice. Like, who do you want to learn about? Here are some choices. We have 8 different people. Which one are you interested in? So Naima helped to co-create it, and what we did, we're in our second week of Black Girl Power. So we did one the first week. This is week 5 of the quarantine. We're doing another week of Black Girl Power. And basically what we do is...
Rosa Parks was so human.
You love Rosa Parks. That's your favorite ancestor, huh? What we do in the curriculum is we pick a person of the day. So every day there's a different person. And we read a story. We always read a story. We may also watch a video about the person. Sometimes we find the story content like in our own home library. Sometimes we find it online, like Kindle type book, or an online book, or through the library. We'll take like the year that the person is born, and those will be the numbers. We'll pull out one of those numbers to focus on for the day. So we'll focus on identifying the number 8 if they're born in 18, whatever, right? So trying to make it connected based on what they're learning, right? She's working on drawing her letters, so she'll write a sentence about the person after we do the reading. And then we do...
the writing.
Mm-hmm. Oh. And then in between, what we're doing, because of the age that she is, we're doing the sort of heavier content, like the math and the writing and the reading and that stuff in the morning when she's the most alert and active and less spent. And then we do that for maybe like an hour.
And I have high heels.
You have high heels. We do that for maybe an hour, and then there's a dance break in between things, and there's that kind of thing going on. And then we have lunch and Naima's choice time and playtime, and then we'll do a craft of some sort.
When it's choice day, we get to do anything we want to do.
And so the crafts are like anything involving gluing, painting. My favorite craft was our Katherine Johnson solar system that we made. So we made this Katherine Johnson solar system. There's Katherine there. We cut her out, put her on. What we did was preschool, so folks could perhaps adapt the sort of more academic part of it for where their children are developmentally, but some ideas for sort of more academic ways to get some learning in based on these really inspiring Black resistors.
It is about the content, but also like the way that you structure the day, right? That Naima has choice, your schedule, that the curriculum that you decide, who you talk about and what you talk about is based on their interests. So I think some of that stuff can be applied universally across age range.
That's true.
Because I know I struggle. My kid only wants to read like comic books, but like I'm like, oh, do you want to do this Black Panther comic book? And he's just like, no, I want to do like Captain Underpants and Dog. Like he wants to do stuff that has like no substance.
Yep.
And I'm just like, and then I'm like, but if I want him to read and practice reading, it has to be something that he enjoys reading.
That's right.
Not something that I want him to read. And so
Exactly.
Lord knows I struggle because I want to do all the Black power stuff, and my kid is just like, I just want to read something stupid and fun.
I think the last thing I'll say is like, that's a part of the self-compassion. Sometimes it's like, I need a break. What needs to happen so that I can have a break? Maybe it's not necessarily the best thing, but what needs to happen so that I can do, just compassion. I think that's the word I want to end on. Compassion for yourself, compassion for the people you're co-caring with, compassion for your child, just, easy. Like we just need to go, however easy we were on ourselves before this, we need to go like 100 times harder on the taking it easy and being gentle. Easier, gentler, easier, gentler. Like that's what we need. That's where we need to focus.
Even when you feel like you did it wrong or you messed up or you snapped, like give yourself grace.
That's it.
Just give yourself grace. Give your child grace. We're all doing the best that we can.